Australian main range, a mighty area of snow-covered mountains, ridges, valleys and slopes. Within a few miles of these mountains, Kosciuszko, Townsend, Carruthers and Twynham are 4 thriving ski resorts, all part of the multi-million-pound business that skiing represents today. 100 years ago, Australians started skiing, or skidding, out of control down Township Hill at Kiandra. Today, they tackle the same slopes as the champions. And when champions compete in the glamour event of Australian skiing, the 500-pound Craven Giant Slalom, the skiing public can watch the big names, the international professionals. The Kosciuszko Chalet, twice destroyed by fire, nestles in a basin below Charlotte Pass. Today, it competes with the other glamour hotels. From here, it's no more than a tow ride and a run to the main range, the beloved country of tourers, the men and women who shun slope bashing, who prefer the isolation of the wide open spaces. Sometimes the snowcats leave their normal domain and tow skiers to the vast areas of virgin snow. It's an easy way of traveling. There's an exciting half-mile from the pass to the foot of the main range, and you don't have to be an expert to experience the thrill of the long, uninterrupted run. But here is one of the experts, Bob McLennan, an entrant in the Craven Ski Classic. McLennan is one of the resident instructors at the chalet, a Canadian, and the first of his countrymen to take part in an Australian professional race. Instructors and racers will compete on Mount Perisher for the sought-after title of Australian Professional Champion. The chalet accommodation ranges from dormitories to private rooms and family suites, with an urban 24 hours a day room service. "15 years ago, if this was your destination, you made the latter part of the trip on foot and with your pack on your back, an 11-mile tramp from Diggers Creek. But not so now. The latest on-the-snow transport makes access an easy matter. These giant snow clippers can carry up to 34 passengers in addition to equipment and luggage. Siberia, a road-clearing station on the Alpine Way. From here, the Snowy Mountains Authority ensures that skiers have almost uninterrupted access by car to Thredbo Valley. The snowplows do a tremendous job after heavy falls, which may leave feet of snow on the surface. The road continues beyond the village, on to Dead Horse Gap, and carries thousands of tourists on their way to G-High and beyond Victoria. It is, in fact, a happy coincidence for Thredbo devotees that this highway was originally constructed and continues to be maintained to carry heavy traffic involved in the authority's gigantic hydroelectric scheme. They come from every state in Australia to ski at Thredbo, from Victoria, Queensland, Tasmania, South Australia. It's a kaleidoscopic settlement. 8 years ago, the dream of a handful of skiers. Just look at it now. one chairlift can carry up to 500 skiers an hour above a slope that rises almost 1 in every 3 feet. At the Krakenbach terminal, you're exactly 6,340 feet above sea level, with the village a mile and a quarter away. Beyond the terminal is the Krakenbach Basin, the place where many of the beginners begin, and where thousands find their snow legs each season. It's a strong contrast to the slopes just over the ridge, literally basin-shaped, and a perfect playing and instruction area. Most students are teenage or adult, and they might well be excused some slight feeling of envy when they see how naturally the youngsters take to it. Some ski on it, some just play in it, throw it or even eat it, but they all love it. They love the fairy tale look of it. Who indeed doesn't appreciate the beauty of snow-laden boughs after a heavy fall? All Australian ski resorts have become a magnet to new Australians and resident Europeans. Hundreds find employment each winter in part of the country that reminds them most of their homeland. Jan Nyam, 4 years in Australia, works at the first station. Chairlift attendant Heinz Stepanek and his wife manage the Rosland Hute. During the summer months, Heinz works as a carpenter. In the Alpine ski shop, Austrian Mike Glavanix will help you in your selection of equipment. At Sasha's, Ursula Weissflog, who's taken time off from school teaching, will show you the colorful clothes. The shop is an annex to Sasha's lodge, where she and her husband Carol have introduced typical Czech glamour and gaiety. Viennese Hans Schlings is the chef. Sasha was national Czech champion and Olympic skier, and later one of the first instructors in Australia. Carol was also one of the first. He taught at Mount Buller in Victoria. If you prefer the facilities of a large hotel to the intimate atmosphere of one of the small lodges, you don't have to look very far. The Coach House Inn at Thredbo houses every luxury: a smorgasbord, bistro, cocktail bar and lounge, and Comfort Plus accommodation for 90 people. But this standard is common to all large resorts now. The new Smiggins Hotel, built during the 1963 summer, pays sophisticated tribute to the boom in snow business. Organized parking and traffic control helps keep the road clear for the tourists and buses from Kuma. Yes, there's a ski school in every resort, where all instructors teach a uniform method, the official Austrian ski system, introduced to Australia in 1957. Perhaps his style is not so good, but it won't be long before he's skiing more like this. Instructor Roger Staub, a newcomer to Smiggen Holes and Australia, an Olympic champion and favorite for the 1-mile Giant Slalom. Beginners and experts alike can ride the T-bar. It rises about 500 feet, and from here you can ski the Mount Piper Saddle and run down into Perisher Valley. The widely spread Perisher settlement is in strong contrast to Thredbo and Smiggins. 10 years ago, there were 3 ski lodges. Now there are over 40, in addition to fine hotel accommodation. Ken Murray is the man whose name is synonymous with the development of Perisher. He's traveling the easy way, on a skidoo, a labor-saving combination of skis and horsepower. On all Australian snowfields, you'll find the men wearing the White Cross. These are men of the Ski Patrol. Their work is voluntary, their job to see to the skiers' safety. These mountains aren't placid all the time, and the playground is not so inviting now. This blizzard could leave 2 or 3 feet more snow, and 24 hours before the start of the big professional race, it may be a good thing, if it abates in time. Weather conditions have ruled out practice for competitors. It's blowing at 68 knots on the top of Mount Perisher, and few leave the comfort of their lodges at a time like this. The whole valley is buzzing with speculation. Will international star Stav be the winner? Or will Jean Écuyer retain his title? Who will be the fastest man on the mountain? The weather's kind. The stage set. Competitors from all major resorts in Australia to ski, check and battle their way through the gates. First, Helmut Pfister, Austrian, instructor at Thredbo and no stranger to the Giant Slalom. The other contestants will be watching for any sign of trouble on the course, watching for anything that will help them in their own runs. The course is 1 mile long. Each competitor must complete 2 timed descents. Here he comes, competitor 1, 15 more to follow. Favorite, Roger Staub, Swiss-born, an Olympic gold medalist, winner of the 1960 Giant Slalom at Squaw Valley. It's the first time an Olympic winner has competed in Australia, and in spite of the disadvantages of trail braking, he's obviously making good time. It's a fast run in a champion style. It crosses the line in 1 minute 27.2, 8 seconds ahead of Pfister. Number 3, Canadian instructor Bob McLennan, also racing for the first time in Australia. McLennan spends the northern winters at Saint-Jovite, Quebec. He's been racing in Canada for 4 years, also an examiner for the Canadian Ski Instructors Alliance. Some 1,500 spectators are attending this Craven A Classic at Perisher Valley. It's by far the biggest crowd to watch a ski race in Australia. Austrian Fritz Halbidl, number 4, instructor at Perisher. The course is still fairly slow. It hasn't started tracking yet. Halbidl has the distinction of being chief instructor of the only indoor ski school in Australia. Approaching the final section, Halbidl's time is running close to McLennan's. 1:36.6. McLennan clocked 1:35.9. Hans Vercella, Thredbo representative, been instructing there since 1960. Like all qualified Austrian instructors, he trained at world-famed St. Christoph and the University of Innsbruck. Vercella's time is fast. Taking the last section confidently, he finishes in 1:32.9. Second fastest to date. Number 6, Leonard Ehrharter, also from Thredbo. Superb stylist, past Australian Olympic team coach. After 7 years instructing here, Leonard claims that no skiers in the world learn as quickly as Australians. Maybe that's a commentary on their teachers. He's just about to clock 1:32.2, 0.7 faster than Vercella. Here's Noldi Giovanali, an Italian and English-speaking Swiss, 24 years old with a European racing background and the advantage of 2 seasons skiing the Mount Perisher slope. The course is getting faster now as skiers leave track over track. Giovanoli takes the final section at speed. Becomes the second contestant to break 1.5 minutes. 1 minute 29.2. It's only 2 seconds slower than Staub. Number 7, Hilly Summerhour from the Chalet, second favourite in this 500 pounds race. Canadian champion between 1956 and 61. Losing a few seconds in this first run, time could be a little disappointing to his fans. Yes, 1 minute 31 seconds. And now representing Smig & Holz is Leo Jägli, one of the 4 Swiss instructors competing for the big money. The experience gained from 3 years of successful racing in Switzerland is showing here in Jägli's descent, and the run's becoming visibly faster. Jägli's flat out through the final section. He must sense he's close to Staub. 1 minute 28.6. Older chalet skiers will recognize Helmut Shape at number 10. He's a diminutive man with a colorful background, mountaineer, instructor in Austria, Japan, Alaska and Australia, member of the 1959 expedition to Antarctica. Helmut's time for the first run, 1:32.3. Hans Steiner, one of the 2 Mount Buller representatives, like his fellow Austrian instructors, holds the coveted St. Christoph qualification. All competitors commented on the excellence of the course. It was set by internationally known Pepe Gabel, an old friend and Olympic racing rival of Tony Spooner. Steiner's run is slow by comparison, finishing fast, but he's well behind the leaders. Number 12, Ludwig Kurtz, has started well. An instructor at Smig & Holz, but frequently skied the Mount Perisher slope in the past few years. Tracks on the course are quite obvious now. These later starters have some slight advantage over the earlier runners. Kurtz becomes one of the 8 contestants up to date to clock over 1.5. And now the man considered Austria's most polished ski stylist, 26-year-old Erich Haller, instruction, Falls Creek, Victoria. Haller has spent some time back home as the official demonstrator Austrian skiing technique at the International Ski Instructors Congresses. But here, speed is more important than style. Watch him take this last section. A near miss. He's wide. He's through. Haller clocks 1:29.6, running third to Staub. Countdown for Muckenschnabel from Falls Creek, number 14. A vigorous start and every indication of a fast run. Some say he's the fastest professional in Australia. There are some rapid changes of contour and inclination in this lower section of the course, and here's where Muckenschnabel astounds the spectators. He clips 1.3 seconds off Olympian Staub's time and moves into first place. Mount Buller man Ludwig Sorger is contestant number 15. Comes from Steiermark in Austria. He's just completed his 6th season here. This is without doubt the highest standard of racing yet witnessed in Australia. Sorger's time is slow by comparison with the leaders, but like the others, he'll be hoping to cut his time on the second run. Final contestant and number 16, Jean Acouillet, is on his way. He probably knows the Mount Perisher slope better than any skier present. Jean has the added confidence of being the first Australian professional champion. Perisher skiers will, I'm sure, remember Acouillet as their first instructor, fresh from Europe where he was a member of the Swiss junior racing team. Colourful display through the last gates, but he's in the middle of the field, 1:32.7. First run complete. All's ready for the now or never run as far as the big money is concerned. The course is stamped out, and this time the skiers will come down in reverse order. Sorger from Mount Buller again. Akuye, incidentally, completed his second run in 1.5 minutes, reducing his time by 2.7 seconds. But remember, it's the aggregate that counts. Sorger's making the most of a vastly improved surface. He's making up time, but not enough. He'll clock 1:32.8. The dark horse, Muckenschnabel. With a narrow lead, he can't afford the slightest error in this descent. Staub will be sure to reduce his time on the second run, and that split second could decide the winner. Peppy Gabel's course setting has made the most of the mountain. And Muckenschnabel's making the most of the course. A mighty effort, cutting his time by nearly 1.5 seconds. 1:24.5. The crowd's buzzing with excitement. Kurtz. These boys are not just skiing for the honor and glory, it's their life and they love it. He's down, but up again and on his way. That fall could have cost anything up to 7 seconds. The timekeepers are using 400 pounds worth of Omega watches for the event. Yes, Kurt seems tired. He's coming down, but the fall eliminates him as a possible place getter. Here's Helmut Schaeffert. Looking confident and throwing everything into it. Throwing is right. But he's apparently unhurt.